What is up, my good people? Today we got a deep topic. Today's topic is deep and important because most of my generation deals with this right now, and I understand the pain on a deep level. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience with depression and anxiety. First, I want to explain to you why I think mental health is so important in life. And it's something that the people that run this country just like throw away and they don't even acknowledge it. But it's one of the main reasons why this country is in the position it's in right now, because people's mental health is just off, it's unbalanced. And when your mental health is unbalanced, life doesn't function the way you want it to. And these are the two juggernauts behind this mental health problem that we face in the world today: depression and anxiety. So much revolves around these two words. It's literally nuts how they have imprisoned some people. To live life through that vision is very hard to do day in and day out. And just know this message goes out to everybody that still deals with that. I hear you, I see you, I understand you. I will share my experience, and I hope it brings light to your experience. I love you. You are loved. You will always be loved. Now, first, I want to talk about the beginning stages of me looking down on myself, mainly due to my lack of confidence. Now, when I was a kid, I didn't really have no traumatic experience in my life that really strongly affected the present moment, like who I was in high school, like my teenager years. I didn't have no childhood tragedy that did that to me, but I did used to think I was really ugly when I was growing up. I thought they had why would a girl pick me when they got so many better options, It's why would that girl even do it to herself? I just didn't believe in myself for any situation. And if I was caught on or something, the anxiety would just shoot through the roof. And I know that feeling when your heart starts bumping fast. My lack of confidence was so there that I wasn't confident that I was good at anything, honestly, except math. I was good at math, but still I was not confident. I'll go play sports, I wouldn't feel it. I played baseball, I sucked at baseball, didn't feel the confidence to play football, didn't want to get hit. I loved basketball, but I never thought that I would be good enough. I remember the feeling of people at a pickup basketball game. I'll be with all my friends, and I'll have a scary feeling that I wouldn't get picked because I just didn't think I was good enough. And it's the lack of confidence really took a toll on me growing up, because now I develop confidence, and I know how much confidence is big with your mental health and how to live a positive lifestyle. And it's just thinking back on it, I lacked confidence so severe, it was crazy. But I'm just proud to be where I'm at today, because that was the beginning stages of my depression and anxiety was just lacking confidence in general. Now I would talk about the development of my depression. How did it start? Now, I gotta think on this right now. I'm actually doing this. I'm trying to do this in one take. So let me think on it right quick, because they had a whole lot of roles that played into it. It was mainly losing my friend and getting my heart broken so many times. I went through so many heartbreaks, so I was in a low mindset with that because my heart was still shaking back. And then one night I got a call that my friend committed suicide. She was a very close friend, and that's just it sent me off the rails, low-key. I just didn't know what to do with life. Why am I so young feeling these strong emotions like this? How do people go on with this? Because when you're young, you don't you go to a funeral, but you wouldn't know how it truly feels unless you were close with that individual. But when you're in high school and you lose a close friend that you just saw last week at school, and it's what happened? when did this road take such a wild turn? That was like how my mind was set at that point. Like, when did this road take such a wild turn? And it got to a point where I absolutely, like, I couldn't handle my own thoughts. So I looked for like security in people, and so many people would just like let me down, and like they just wasn't there for me. It's like got to a point I couldn't trust anybody. Everybody that got too close to me would just end up hurting me. And that's where I learned that attachment was like the root of all suffering, because you get attached to these people that you think are gonna make you happy, but attachment only ends with suffering, because that's the final result. So my message out to everybody is to just straight up don't get attached to anything, but still live it out to the full experience, live it and enjoy it, but there's no need to attach to anything on this earth world that we live in, this freaking realm. But that's how my depression happened. It was just multiple L's stacking on top of each other, and it felt like I was carrying so much weight on my back, and it got to the point where I couldn't handle it. Low key, it was like I shut out from the world. It was like I had to wear a fake smile every single day. Nobody really understood me, and I barely understood myself at that. So it was like people liked me, but it was like they didn't know the real me. They didn't know what I was going through every day when I went home. Literally couldn't even sit with my thoughts, because my ego would just be like whooping me. Like, I literally remember just getting beat up by my thoughts day in, day out. And like suicidal thoughts came through my head at one point, but it's like I just realized that like this life is so fragile. It's like I don't want to take my own life. Like, that's not it. That's not the way to go. But I understand when life gets so tough on people that they make that decision, because I have been like the front doors to that before. So I understand the emotions. It's like you dug yourself up in this hole that you didn't even realize was this deep, and it's like everything is dark now, and you don't even know how to climb back up because you can't see nothing. Everything is blurry and confusing. So this is how I really got just destroyed by my own thoughts. Like, I was my worst enemy during this time in life. But I slowly grew out of my depression. I started seeing a happy side in life, and at this time in life, I think I was repping like positive vibes only, and like I was there for everybody, even though nobody was truly there for me. So I was always that person to like make people's days, because I just beat depression, which I'm gonna get on that story of how I like truly beat it. So I was like, I understand like how you feel. I was truly trying to just help people better themselves in high school and make them look at the bright side in life. But at this point, I truly got the real like hook up with anxiety, and it's like my anxiety was so bad that I didn't get sad about the past, because like I told y'all earlier, I didn't have no like childhood shit that just ruins like the rest of like your teenagehood. I didn't have that happen to me. So how my mind worked, I would always create these fake illusions in my head, and I'll believe them to be reality. And that's how overthinking really just destroyed like my perception of life at that point. Cause like I would just be cooling, and like the worst case scenario thought would pop up like with any situation. So I was always prepared for everything. But it's like when you're prepared for it, don't get caught up with the emotions in that same thought. And that's what I did. I'll start believing that these things like are actually happening, and I didn't look at the truth. I created this illusion in my head to so many things, and it's like so many things I wish I could have said in that moment, but I just couldn't think of the words, because my head was always up in a different mindset, on a different problem, worried about this, worried about that. I wouldn't call it stressed out, but my anxiety was just so overboard, like it was nuts. And that was one of the real problems. Like at first, when like I started smoking weed, I used to just do it for fun, But then I realized, like, later down the road, that my mind just runs at 100%, 110% of the time. Like, my thoughts are always running, thought after thought, and sometimes I can get lost up in the wind in my own head. So smoking weed really, like, slowed my mind down and let me process things at a slower pace, which was really good for me because I needed to slow down. Like, I think I was going through so much stuff. It was my junior year. So many things was happening. I was getting ready for senior year. It was like, out in public, I looked it fine. Like, I looked like I was good. But when I was by myself, this is why I had so many friends during this time too, because I really couldn't stand, like, just me and myself bullying together. I couldn't stand that. So I said I had to be around people to, like, experience this life better for me. So that's how anxiety really messed over me, like, during my senior year of high school and all of that. But with the final thing over this topic that I want to talk about is true depression and how I beat all of this right here, right now. So what I feel like true depression is, and I used to always say this, like, I'll see people talk about their problems online. You know, that's good. Like, if you need to release your emotions, do that. But true depression truly hits when you feel like the world can't even see you anymore. When you're not on social media anymore, it's literally just you and your mind. It feels like your mind's whooping you. But this is the thing I always tell people about depression. No matter how hard it is, you can beat it. But don't rely on any outside sources, because the only way to beat depression is for you to go up one-on-one with it. No help, like, only you, like a final boss fight. I think it's the only way to truly defeat it. Because I know a whole lot of people that suffer from it, and it's like, you can go to therapists, you can have the greatest therapist in the world, you can have all your friends rooting for you. But at the end of the day, it's going to be your decision if you want to live with that depression, if you want to let it to continue to beat you up or grow from it and face it head on and face all your demons and conquer that. That decision is always going to be up to you. You can have 100% support on this depression battle, but it's going to be your decision if you want to flip this switch and say that you're tired of all of this shit and face your demons and face yourself and move on to live the better life that you deserve. Depression is a terrible monster. Terrible. I've been there. I understand that. But that's how I beat it. I said, I'm not about to waste my life living in the dark when there's a whole light world out there. I had to free my own self from the chains. And keep in mind, during all of this, I never told anybody about my depression, so nobody truly knew that I was sad or not. Like, they just thought I was acting regular. So I didn't have that person to go to like talk about my problems with, because it was just me. So my experience with depression may be different than many others, because many other people have had that help that I didn't have. So our perspective on depression is two different things. But that's basically the message that I wanted to get through. And after I beat depression, how I beat anxiety is by fully putting myself in the present moment. They said that depression stems from past memories, and you living in the past too much, it creates depression. And anxiety stems from you trying to predict everything in the future. That's what creates anxiety. The present moment is what creates peace. And that's the way that I learned this life. So when you're out of flow, the flow of life is what I call it, that's when stuff starts hitting you, shit gets wild. That's when depression and anxiety comes in, when you lost balance in life. That's why balance is key in everything. When you move out of the flow of life, it starts beating you up. So how to put yourself back in the flow of life is to live in the present moment. And I'm so glad that I learned how to be in the present moment every moment of my life now. And I still slip up from time to time, you know. Life is a roller coaster. You have your ups and downs, but remember that you're supposed to struggle to understand the light in life. And I think that's where a whole lot of people has stopped at. They think, oh, life is just struggle, pain, all of that. When no, struggling is a part of the journey of experiencing and learning who you truly are. So look at struggle like a teacher instead of an enemy, because struggle is a part of a life. So if you look at struggle like the enemy, you're going to ultimately start looking at life like the enemy. And like I always used to tell people, watch your words, because if you scream out that you hate life, your reality is going to shift you up in that life that you hate, because that's what you're preaching out to the universe. But if you love life, it's going to love you back, and that's just simple. You just got to stay positive, have faith, and be in the present moment. This was a very deep convo. Emotions are running wild in my head right now, but I'm glad I got this message out to y'all. Y'all have a great night. I'm out. Stay up.